Hey everyone, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I'm Justin, and I'm in charge of the rap vocals for the Shadow Puppet.
Nice. I'm Nico, and I just went skin dipping. Not skinny dipping. Skin dipping.
There we go.
I'm Dan, the innocent toll booth worker.
Ah, you coward.
Yep.
This is our last week of DOTD exploring horror around the world. We've been to so many different places already, seen a lot of interesting and new sights. Dan, where are we touching down for the last time today?
So this week we are in Southeast Asia, specifically in Indonesia.
That's right. And we're reviewing, and I apologize in advance for this and every other name I'm going to read out today, Perempuan Tanah Janam, or in English known as Impetigore, which, by the way, is the most metal name for anything I've ever heard.
Bro, right? Like, I can hear the Acacia Strain breakdown over it. Impetigore.
This was directed by Joko Anwar, starring Tara Basro as Maya, Marissa Anita as Dini, Aryo Bayu as Ki Saptari, Christine Hakim as Ni Misni, and Asmara Abigail as Rati. By the way, Asmara, if I ever have a daughter in the future, that's going to be the name.
Oh yeah? Stamp.
So we open this movie with Maya and Dini, two toll booth operators. One night, Maya is attacked by a man who asks if her name is Rahayu and if she's from Hardrosari village. Maya flees and the man attempts to kill her, but a police officer intervenes and kills the assailant. Sometime later, Maya speaks to Dini, saying that she remembered her aunt actually used to call her Rahayu, and that she wants to go investigate Hardrosari village for more clues about her family, and, maybe see if they left her anything. So, fairly innocuous aside from the attempted murder, but Nico, what happens next?
So at the village, Maya and Dini arrive and see a funeral procession. They tell the villagers that they're college students doing research on wayang, or shadow puppetry, and they want to speak to the village leader, Ki Saptari, because he's a famous puppeteer. And they're told to wait for the following day because he's got stuff going on. He's got a life. So the two spend the night in Maya's family house, which is now abandoned. And the audience sees a scene where a woman gives birth to a baby, and Ki Saptari takes the baby down to Bikini Bottom. He drowns the kid.
Well, that's kind of depressing. What happens next, Dan?
So the following morning, Maya and Dini see the infant's funeral procession, and they meet with Ki Saptari, who invites them to his house. Maya goes to get some food and meets Rati, a food vendor who tells her that there have actually been no babies in the village for the last 20 years. Dini encounters some villagers, and she tells them that she is Rahayu, and they end up kidnapping her, killing her, and stripping her of her skin.
Oof.
Lovely. Well, with that imagery in our minds, Nico, please continue.
Right, so Maya heads back with the food, but, it's just the darnest thing, she just can't find Dini. She goes and speaks with Ki Saptari, who says that he will help look for her, but that night, when she still hasn't been found, there's a kid born. At this point, the audience can see that the child is skinless. Once again, Ki Saptari kills a child, but Maya sees it all from an outside window, and she accidentally makes a noise, but Rati hides her from the villagers.
Well, that's a good save. See, Rati then tells Maya that 20 years ago, there was a famous shadow puppeteer known as Ki Donowongso, and he married a very beautiful woman. After 5 years, they had a child named Rahayu, but the baby was born skinless. 3 girls then go missing from the village, and Rahayu appears, having miraculously grown a full set of skin. Don't know the right way to really say that.
Like, on her, not separately from her. Hey, look, Mom and Dad, I just grown some skin.
Ki Donowongso goes insane, killing a bunch of people, and then himself. Since then, all children from the village have been born with no skin, and they believe that if they manage to kill and skin Rahayu, that will break the curse. Meanwhile, Ki Saptari's mother, who also happens to be a shaman, reveals that they killed the wrong girl, and the village begins to look for Maya. So we have a little bit of a hunt going on. What happens, Nico?
So Maya attempts to escape the village, but on the way, encounters the ghost of the 3 girls who were killed way back when. They reveal to her that her mother had an affair with Key Subtati and that he is the real father. Cue the Jerry Springer. Key Subtati's mother then placed a curse on Maya to make her skinless, and she made Key Subtati forget everything. We also learned that the curse on the village will be released if Maya can bury the girls' bones with their skin. Maya manages to fulfill the ghost request, thankfully, but she's then captured by some villagers.
Exactly. All right, Dan, why don't you go ahead and take us home?
So now, in front of the entire village, Maya tells Key Subtati about his mother's actions and that she has broken the curse. Rati appears with a newborn child that actually does have skin. The curse has been broken. So now Key Subtati feels immense remorse for his actions, and he kills himself. Distraught, his mother does the same. Rati frees Maya from her bonds, and Maya escapes from the village. Then we have a little bit of a time skip, and we see that about 1 year later, there's a woman who is very pregnant and close to giving birth. She goes to use the bathroom, but we can see the ghost of Key Subtati's mother in the mirror. The woman lets out a blood-curdling scream, and we can see that the ghost is consuming the woman's unborn child. The end.
And what a scene to end on. We'll get to that in a second, though. Let's break down the technicals first. Visuals. Nico, how's this movie look?
It looks really good. I really love the set design and just the locale that they've shot this in. It looks lush while at the same time looking, I don't want to say decrepit, but it looks definitely more rural than other things that we've seen. And there's a certain kind of aesthetic that goes with that. I'm struggling for kind of name of the term here, but it's a beautiful movie, even though it is a horror movie and has a lot of the traditional kind of like dark tones with some, dark oranges and browns and stuff. But we get a lot of greens, a lot of blues. It's a pretty movie.
Yeah, I think that the nature scenes particularly look really green, really vibrant. And it's the village itself, like the buildings in the village, that show signs of abandonment, neglect, not really people caring about it too much. And I think that actually has a lot to do with the mental state of the villagers.
Definitely.
After 20 years of unsuccessfully having kids and then also killing the kids. I mean, that would take a toll on anyone. Yeah. So I think that's part of the reason why it looks like that. Dan, anything to add in terms of, the visual looks?
I think it looks great. And there's a couple really cool shots, I thought, too. Like one point when Deanie gets captured and she's hung upside down. And it's just a cool scene where she looks like she's right side up, but, her hair is hanging upwards or whatever because the camera's upside down. So it looks like whatever. But the camera like rotates back to what we would normally see of her hanging upside down. And then later when Maya gets captured, the scene starts the same way. And I thought that was kind of cool. And one of the final scenes before the time skip when Maya's running away from the village and she is running away and it's really frantic and she's hysterical and jumps in a truck and drives away. That I thought looked a little different. It felt a little different from a lot of the rest of the movie. It almost felt more like a slasher.
I feel like that was probably intentional.
Yeah. I thought the visuals were really great though.
Mm-hmm. And one scene that I forgot to mention, one of the ghost girls, and this poor truck driver, whatever, he didn't deserve this at all.
Oh, yeah.
He was just driving along, and this ghost just rips off her skin to show ghostly flesh and shit, and he freaks out. I would too, but I'm just yo, this man did not deserve it. He straight up did not deserve it.
Get fucking pranked, bro.
That was nuts. In terms of sounds, Nico, how'd you feel about that?
I liked all of it. There was a lot of atmosphere set by just the sort of silence that you get when you're in a jungle village, which I'm sure you could tell us more about, Justin. I don't have any personal experience, but yeah.
Well, that's real messed up, Nico.
Yeah, I'm just totally racially profiling you and not speaking to any kind of established history on the podcast at all.
Check my character bio on our website for more information.
But no, it sounds really good. It sounds, the environments all had a real sort of nuance of just creepy ambiance to it all. There weren't too many sort of motifs or musical themes that were present, but insofar as sound definitely plays a part in setting up the atmosphere, they did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. For me, one thing I really dug was the funeral processions.
Yeah.
The vocals for those were really cool. And also, they have a couple scenes where we get to see some shadow puppetry. And I really liked the music behind that. It was really, really, really good, I thought. But as always, we have to turn to the master at hand here. Dan, what do you think about the sounds?
I think you guys nailed it. I was actually going to bring up the shadow puppetry music, so I thought that was cool. And in the actual film, when they're doing this shadow puppetry, there's actually a group of maybe 10 or 12 musicians with different instruments, mostly like percussive instruments, I think. And, whether they're actually playing that or not, probably not really, but
they're using modelers.
Right. It sounds like it looks, if that makes sense.
Yes.
That's not a type of instrument or anything that I've really heard before. It's really cool. I actually really like that.
And one thing I actually had a question on. So I couldn't quite catch this, but those were normally accompanied by female vocals, right? Like in the past, it was Maya's mom doing the female vocals, and then there was someone else doing the vocals for this like live portion that we got to see.
I think so.
But I couldn't tell for certain. I don't know. But I do want to talk about something that I think it was Dan, you mentioned very briefly. You said in a moment of the movie, it almost felt like a slasher. And I just want to ask, what subgenre of horror would you call this movie? Like, just generally speaking, what kind is it? Now, I'm going to take, first stab at this one. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it is, for lack of a better word, it has all the heralds of a ghost story. And I think that the main curse of this village is based on, the little girls who died. I'll get to more explaining that in a second, but there was the initial curse that was placed on Maya by Kisaptati's mother, but then we also have those girls who died, and now this whole village is under the curse. The girls are appeased and the curse goes away, but then Kisaptati's mother dies and brings on a potentially even worse curse.
I think definitely worse, actually.
Yeah. So I feel like that's classic ghost story, like negative emotions, just it's no good. It's no good for anyone. But I'm open to different opinions.
I agree with you. I would say ghost stories, supernatural kind of, though not in the same way that we see like James Wan kind of ghost supernatural movie or anything like that. It's definitely very different than that. But that's there. Then I would almost argue like a slight touch of body horror, maybe. Mostly because of the skinning.
Yes.
There's a scene where after Dinny gets killed.
Oh, I was going to bring that up. Speak your piece. Speak your piece, bro.
Kisaptati's mother, you see her like carrying a basket and like walking away. And I pretty instantly was like, oh, there's probably like Dinny's like organs or something in there. But she walks over to a clothesline and pulls out just like a blanket of skin. And I mean, like you see her drape the skin over the clothesline. And I mean, you see like the skin titties. And then she takes out like another like piece of skin and drapes that over. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. I was seeing like organs, which still would have been kind of gross, but like I've seen organs in horror movies a lot, but like people just hanging out skin to dry, like I haven't really seen that very much. So,
it was a really beautiful shot too.
It kind of was actually.
She was humming and everything else like that, like she was putting out laundry. And I mean, it's that juxtaposition of, I guess, again, speaking from like a guy's perspective, like my perspective, I should say, like normally if you see, some kind of like cleavage, I'm trying to be professional here, on a movie would normally be something like, oh, like I may be attracted to this. Me personally, I typically am when I see that kind of thing in a movie.
Who doesn't like titties?
But then it's like the juxtaposition though. Those are disembodied titties. Like they've been cut out literally and hung in some like perverse frame. And then we also see her literally making leather. After you dry the skin, she like pounds it and like makes the leather. And like it's so dehumanizing that it's leather. Leather is the term they use. Like, that's nuts. That is so nuts. So I agree with you there, Dan. I like what you did there.
Thanks.
But
I also
Nico,
like what you
you
did
haven't
there.
done anything as yet. I haven't seen
Right.
anything.
So
Show your work.
Okay. I think it is more so. There's definitely ghosts, like no
For
argument
real
there.
ghosts.
But yeah,
At
like
least
dead ass
3.
actual fucking ghosts. But I think this is more aligned with folk horror. I guess you could think about it like that, just because the nature of the curse is kind of passive. It's not like the ghosts are actively fucking with people. It's just, oh, you have a kid? Well, guess they're getting that first layer of the candy wrapper peeled back. And that's just the way it is. And a lot of the terror in the middle portion of the movie, I think, comes from just unraveling the truth of what's really going on in Harjasari with Maya / Rahayu, not Rahayu, learning everything that truly happened. And I don't want to say it's mankind that was the real monster, because it wasn't. There's actual factual fucking ghosts, but like, they're the ones doing the actual scary shit.
All right. And I do have a real quick question to pose here. So Ki Saptati, right? Is he a bad person? I think the absolute maybe worst thing that he does is, so he does set up Ki Donawangso. Like, he kills everybody. He's like, blood for blood. And then he kills everyone at this shadow puppet show, and then kills Ki Donawangso as well, and then makes it look like he did it. He did set him up for that whole murder thing. But is he a bad person? I guess having killed all those people, he probably is.
When you put it that way.
What a fucking prompt.
But I guess, is he the baddest of people in this movie? Is there anyone worse?
You could have had a bad bitch.
I mean, I think that the mother is like the real bad guy, like behind the scenes bad guy the whole time, and at the end we kind of reveal that. Ki Saptati, I think, yes, I consider him a bad guy, but I don't think he's like purely evil. I don't think he's evil to be evil, because like we kind of said, like at the end when he realizes to lift the curse, it wasn't, hey, let me kill this person and skin them. He felt so remorseful he couldn't live with it, and he killed himself, and I think that feeling that remorse proves that he's not like inherently evil, or at least fully evil anyways, but I think he was to some extent evil.
I think and I struggle with that question too, because the reason why he killed off all those people is, I think, so the little girls, their skin was made into like puppets, and they were the puppets that Ki Donawangso was using. So I think that kind of drove Ki Saptati like to go into like bloodlust mode and just murder everyone associated with the puppet show. He didn't hurt like the regular villagers. He hurt people associated with the puppet show. He literally killed the entire performing act. He killed everyone. And those were the people he killed. And I think that was kind of the intention behind it, because he was kind of done really dirty by his mom. He clearly had feelings for, Ki Donawangso's wife. And I mean, Ki Donawangso had his chance. He had like a whole bunch of years. Apparently Ki Saptati like hit it once and immediately got her pregnant. So
fast swimmers, bro.
That's wild. That's wild to me. So I don't think he was bad for that. And then his mom makes him forget. So like he can't even, take care of his kid or explore that relationship properly. And then in the end, he realizes, because he seemed to me like a pretty lawful type dude. Like, he didn't take any joy in doing some of the things he had to do,
He seemed more desperate than evil, I would say. Definitely still somewhat, but much more driven to his acts out of trials and tribulations and, things just not fucking working.
Because he doesn't immediately kill Dini. And I think he might even have potentially maybe even wanted to like talk to her for like 2 seconds or whatever.
It's his mom that goes and just...
Yeah, his mom walks in and just like straight up slices her throat, like instantly.
They slice a lot of throats in this movie.
Yeah.
Actually, so I don't know how much of this is pertinent to that, but when you slaughter an animal in kind of the Islamic tradition, and Indonesia is like 80-something% Muslim, but like when you do that, you slit the throat, like you cut the artery and you let the blood drain out. That's how you do it, and that's how they killed Dini. That's how they killed a bunch of people in this. So I wonder if that's maybe not having something to do with it. Again, slitting the throat is also a really effective way to kill someone, so it could just be that. Like they could just be trying to kill somebody mad effectively.
Sometimes the curtains are fucking blue.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you murder because you are good at. Nope, we're just. Nope.
Nope. DOTD takes a step back from that cliff.
Yep.
But another thing that I did want to talk about real quick, though, as well, is the puppet show. You know, we've talked on a couple different points, but how cool was it to actually see and experience something that, at least from my perspective, I don't know about you guys. You guys might be mad cultured, but I am uncultured filth. So I did not know about the shadow puppetry. And what's the actual word for it again? There's like an actual legitimate word for it.
Wayang, I think it was.
Yeah. Like, that's so cool. And I was talking, you know, before the pod, if you're back in days and you don't have no TV, this is like TV. It's like you literally have there's like a sheet put up and the shadows of the puppets get blown up to look big and they can fight and there's music. I mean, that shit is literally like surround sound, bro. So I don't know. I mess with it personally.
But it's not surround sound.
It's not literally surround sound. Okay, thanks, guys. This is what happens when you be on a podcast with audio people. But, I mean, yeah, I guess it's not surround sound. How do I say it?
I guess you don't know how fucking prepositions work either, but here we are.
They can pan the sound left to right, can't they?
No, the sound is coming from one place and one place only.
Nico, why don't you talk about the puppet show? Because I can't.
Okay, yeah. So I'm happy to be your, lifesaver. I was saying lifeguard. Anyway, I'm
wow. Keep going.
This. Yeah, no, it's fine. Anyway, this is something that I did really enjoy in the movie, though, because it gave a sense of just truly being in a foreign world. You know, the two main characters are from a more established, like they're from a city. The first scene we see is them working at a fucking toll booth. That's one of the not pinnacles, but not pinnacles of civilization, but one of the like landmarks of civilization, if you get what I mean.
The toll booth, yes.
Y'all remember in Civilization 5 when you unlock toll booths? Get those culture points up? Pro strats here. Any % victory. Toll booth, you already know. It's like a culture shock.
I bet. So, Dan, Nico took a swing there. Why don't you tell me your thoughts on the puppet show?
Well, I'll try this one. I thought it was pretty cool. I hope this doesn't come off as fucked up or anything, but
whatever you're about to say will go better than my trash heap.
Maybe. I've seen some like shadow puppetry stuff only in like cartoons. I feel like in like some cartoons and things like that, I've seen depictions of it, but I don't think I've ever actually, I definitely haven't seen it like in real life, but I've never seen it in like a live action kind of movie, I don't believe. So it was pretty cool. And I actually liked the puppets a lot, minus the human leather part of that. But they were actually like really cool. And I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely not vegan puppets.
Yeah. And like I mentioned before, the music part of it was really cool too.
It is, because we're obviously all outsiders to that region. But even, somebody who, and the movie's Indonesian. So, but even people from Indonesia seeing that, it's like a cultural experience, you know what I mean? So I liked seeing that, and I guess it was kind of weird, but I didn't feel like a super duper outsider because Maya was an outsider too.
Right.
I like that. But, and just, this kind of part of the reason why, we wanted to do the horror around the world was to see different cultural things. So I think that's really, really awesome to see that.
For sure.
But now I have a question, and I don't know. There's a lot of pregnancies and births and people going into labor right when Maya gets to the village. Because the first night, there's like a woman who's going into labor. The second night, there's like two women going into labor. And like how many people go into labor, Dan, in this movie? Like
I think it's
4?
like 4 or 5.
Yeah. Like this all happened. And my question is, it's kind of wild because they know they have this curse. Like every villager knows about the curse. And it's like, I don't know, would you keep having kids if you knew that your town was quite literally cursed? That's my first question. And second question, do you think leaving would maybe make things better or improve upon your chances, I guess?
I think they must have had like an orgy like 9 months prior to this movie. Because I don't know how that many people got pregnant, like, and gave birth, like, at the same time. But I wouldn't, well, I don't know. I feel like maybe, like, staggered births. Because, hey, it takes 9 months to give birth to a child. So you
Correct.
never know what's going to happen. Like, they might, 6 months in, they might find Rahayu and kill her and lift the curse. You don't know. So I could see that, maybe. And I think maybe it's like a symbol for hope as well, maybe, because they're always hoping that the new child is born normal with skin and constantly crushed. No, they're not born normal.
That actually messed me up when you can tell the toll it takes on Kisaptari because he's the one who does it. Like the pressure is on him. And the reason why they do it is because there was one person they actually let live, and that person's life is literal nothing but pain, constant agony, cannot do anything. And like the village decided that it would just be better to not have that happen to people. The life of just complete and utter suffering was not worth it.
That's kind of another point to like Kisaptari not being wholly evil and having like some amount of conscience, because there's a point when, after he kills one of the babies,
Yeah.
they think they had lifted the curse after they had killed Denny. So the baby comes out still without skin, and the father is like, I thought you told me that, the curse has been lifted. And Kisaptari slaps him, and he's like, I'm doing everything I can. And
He slapped him like 3 times in a row.
yeah.
I wrote that down. He like power slapped him thrice, but he
Yeah.
also called Kisaptari a liar. And that's when he smacked him around.
Right. I didn't quite get this immediately, but I think later on I realized that I think Kisaptari was, a lot of unspoken things there of like Kisaptari being like, no, like, you really think I enjoy killing these kids? Like, this hurts me as much as it hurts you. Like, I have to kill these kids every time, for 20 years or however long it's been. So, I think that's, like Nico had said before, I think he's doing it out of desperation too.
Yeah. And I don't quite think there were like quite tears in his eyes, but that was a really pained expression. And he was like, I'm doing everything I can. Damn you. And then like that was that. And I was like, oh shit.
It was definitely taking a toll on him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't specifically know if leaving would help though. Like, I guess somebody must have tried, right? Nico, do you think somebody must have tried going to a city and seeing if that would change things?
Yeah, no, they did. There was, the dude who tried to kill Maya. Are we going to count him?
Well, no, I'm talking about like a pregnant woman go to the city and see if you leave the village, can you have a kid normally? Or is it any child born or maybe conceived in the village?
I was just going to ask if it's
Yeah, that's a
born
really good fucking question, because then it gets into the idea of like, is the curse something that happens at conception? And that's a philosophical quandary I really don't think we're equipped to handle.
No. I'm talking about, do you think is the curse on the people or the land?
Yes.
You think it's both?
I think it's both, yeah. I think as long as the people live on that land, they're going to be cursed. So,
And if they were to leave the land, would they still be cursed, do you think?
I think the next generation wouldn't be cursed. Well, if there was a next generation.
There couldn't be.
That.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a real stumper, folks.
I think that it has to do with the land more so than the people, IMO, because I can't shake the feeling that the curse wasn't personal. I think it was just, hey, we were killed in this village, therefore this village is cursed.
Fuck y'all.
I honestly think that's how it works.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could be wrong.
There's also black magic and deals with the devil involved in the film too.
Of course. Of course.
It could just be I fucked around with the devil and now we're all fucked.
The Conjuring 4.
Yeah.
Conjuring 4, don't fuck with the devil. So, but I want to get a little bit more in depth into this curse, and I want to ponder on some lines we're told by Rati. Specifically, Rati tells Maya that she doesn't believe killing her will end the curse because her grandmother, which, by the way, shout outs to you, woman, because apparently she's a good shaman. Okay, if you're a good shaman, could you not step up to the plate? Could you not help out?
She was busy making the rice, bro.
She must have been busy making
She
the
had
rice.
a food stand to run.
Bro, she was like, yo, as soon as I'm done, I'm about to come crush this curse. But
I really need to hire someone so I can save this fucking town.
like, I was like, yo, come on, son. Come on, son. But nah, like, she said that the grandmother said killing somebody doesn't stop a curse. It will transform it. It will change it, maybe even make it worse. And that is kind of given shape and form when Ki Donawongso, he's killed, his wife is killed, and that curse just evolves and changes. And now it affects everybody in the village. So I definitely think that's given form. And I also think, and this is what I wanted to ask, what does this say about maybe two wrongs don't make a right?
So I really like this aspect of the movie in particular because it kind of plays at a lot of horror movies. There's the trope of if there's going to be some sort of like twist, it'll happen at the end where it's like, oh, the killer isn't really dead or something. But like, I think it is a very intelligent way that fits not only with the world building of the movie, but also thematically to have the curse evolve as it goes after the first iteration has been spent, per se. That makes it all the more terrifying, I think, and just shows the cyclical nature of malice and how it corrupts communities.
Very true. I agree. Dan, your thoughts?
I like this sort of message of, two wrongs don't make a right, and fighting violence with violence is not a good way to do it. But then at the end, we see that the curse has transformed because Ki Saptade's mother comes back as a ghost and eats a newborn baby. So I don't quite know how I feel about that being, if that is part of that two wrongs don't make a right message, or if there's like an add-on to it or anything like that with that ending there.
Curse DLC.
Yeah, right. I kind of liked that. Say, don't just kill people to make the curse go away.
In regards to the mother, I think that was more so because she was always an evil kind of shaman and making deals with the devil and doing her evil dance. And like, I don't know. She really doesn't evil dance, by the way, listeners. She like dances.
Oh, yeah. She's just Millie rocking.
Yeah, dude, I feel like that was just her being evil. And therefore she became an evil ghost and spirit. And, all this kind of resulted from her not wanting a child to, be born, or like, she didn't want Maya. So this is where all this rooted from, was her. So I think this is just taking it to the next level where the children don't even get a chance to be born at this point. They're just like consumed.
Oof.
It's like a level up.
Is it?
It's like Curse and then like Cursaga.
Hey kid, you were born without skin. Way to level up.
So time for the what would you do?
Get some fucking aloe.
All right, so here we go. So we find out that like I apparently had like an Indonesian uncle and he left everything to me. So we're coming through and we go to the village and we see the funeral procession. And I'm going to change things slightly here, but they're like, hey, look, just by the way, there was a guy called, Key Justin, and he was the leader of the village. And he had a daughter named Key Rita. And
you just said what your daughter was going to be named earlier in this episode.
Yeah, bro.
Come correct.
No, that's my uncle, Key Justin.
Oh, okay. All right.
Come on
proceed,
now. Come on
proceed.
now. Come on. Relax. And by the way, that was a joke. My daughter's name is really going to be Yuna. But no, so it's that happening. And they're like, but then, Key Justin. Okay, I don't want my name associated with this anymore. Key Bustin was
Incredible.
You know, he like murderated some people and whatnot and made them into puppets. Like, how would you feel if you knew the backstory from the jump about everything that happened? What would your reaction be up front?
I would leave, bro.
Just
You tell me I'm
leave?
in this small ass village and I've already witnessed like 3 funerals within like 12 hours or some shit.
Yeah, right.
And then I'm told that like this dude murderated people and made fucking puppets out of them. Hell no. Are you kidding me? Hell no.
And I guess my second piece is, what would you do specifically? So let's say you know the villagers are after you, right? And let's say you've already solved the curse. What do you think is the best way to escape from the village without getting caught? What would you do? Are we going to take our chances kind of going into the woods to hide out in like the woods/jungle? Are we making our way out to the main road to try and like catch a passerby car? Because cars do pass by like the main road eventually. What's your thoughts?
I would try to silent sneak my way out of there.
Oh, true.
Just slide through the jungle and shit.
Slide through the jungle.
Yeah, I would probably
Yeah.
try and retrace our steps, honestly, because like earlier in the movie, they take a horse-drawn buggy thing,
Carriage.
Yeah, wow, I'm a mess this episode. I would just try and retrace that path and be like, where the fuck are we going?
I think that was the main road.
Well, then, all right. Yeah, no.
All
I would
right.
not try to hitchhike though. I don't think I would trust any cars around.
I wouldn't. Because there actually is a scene where the dude who gave him a ride up, it was like really zoomed out so I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I think it was him.
He got shot, right?
No, that was just a police officer.
Was it the police? I thought the police pulled out the gun and shot him.
Yeah, the police is the one who shot him.
Oh.
Because she had asked, they didn't really explain it, but what I think happened is when she asked Rati for her phone, she probably took the business card that the carriage guy had given her and called him.
Oh, that makes
That's
sense.
what
that
I
makes sense.
think happened.
Yeah. I like that guy too. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because his horse's name was like Gorgeous or something like that. Oh no, that was pretty funny. But I want to take a second here and look at this critic review, right? And oh boy. What do y'all think this is? High, low, medium? How do you feel about it?
I think it's going to be mad high.
I would say
Yeah.
like a mid-high, like upper 70s maybe.
So Nico actually has it in aces
Oh,
here.
yeah? Okay.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it says a 92% fresh from critics. Audience score, Dan, is more along what you were saying, 76%. So I want to ask, what's your favorite scene in this? Any criticisms if you have them? And what's your score? Who wants to start?
I'll start. My favorite scene, as horrible as it is to say, is the scene that we described earlier where old grandma skinny pants is just, laying out Deanie's skin on the fucking clothesline, and we have this picturesque shot of like 12 different oak trees or whatever the hell kind of trees they are, and it's just beautiful. It is a harrowing scene after we see her get literally drained of all her blood like an animal. And that just really fucking stuck with me. Particular shout outs to just the final scene though, because I actually audibly went, what the fuck? When that final just part came through where she was, just going to town on Kid. And I am gonna give this one I'm gonna give this one a 92. I think they got it exactly where I would have put it.
I will say real quick for the final scene, I thought it was over. And so it said 1 year later, and I was taking some notes and whatnot on my Chromebook, and then Chromebook sponsor me. And literally all of a sudden I heard like there's a conversation and I was kind of watching it, but I was like, this movie's done. And then nope. She was like, and then I seen the ghost. I was like, oh, and then like it all just changed rapidly. So I was like, damn, indeed. But Dan, me or you to give our score next?
You can go ahead. I'm still deciding.
Fair enough. So I thought, first off, my favorite scene is exactly the same as Nico's. I think particularly, it's going to sound mad weird, but you don't really see humans in that context, like being skinned like that. I know there's been horror movies where people have been skinned,
Right.
but just particularly the scene, the juxtaposition, and Nico found the words I was kind of struggling with earlier in the pod, but particularly even, like the portion of skin that was cut and shown so prominently, again, the cleavage, like that has one association with it, and that's juxtaposed horribly because it's cut like a piece of leather against a beautiful background. The woman's humming like nothing's wrong. And I'm just like, yo, that's wild. And to be honest, it had kind of Midsummer vibes a little bit. That scene for
Yeah,
me.
dude.
It had that for me. And a couple times in the movie, but I really dug it. I totally did not expect to see this. I mean, as a quick, side note to the audience, we had to change plans a little bit when it came to the movie we were watching, and we didn't have a ton of time to do a ton of, background research or anything into this one. Not that we ever really spoil ourselves, but this was a very pleasant surprise. You know what I mean? I think this was better than your average bear. I thought it was really good. The pacing, a little on the long side. I thought maybe there was a scene with a person who had been skinned, and the point of the scene was to show you how much pain they were in. Questionable if that scene was necessary or not. It was cool from a body horror perspective, but they'd already kind of explained that, somebody like that would already be in so much pain.
Yeah.
So to then physically show me, don't know if that was really necessary, but it also wasn't super long. So I can't say it was a massive drag on time. I really enjoyed the film. I really, really liked it. The ending for me, don't know how I felt about that ending. I felt like the ending was kind of like a smack in the face for the village. Like, you just got over that one thing and now you have another thing. Bro, burn it to the ground and start over. Burn the whole village to the ground. Just move somewhere else and start over, bro. Put up like a fence, run away. Like, I don't know what else to say, because what can you do? I felt like there was purpose and reason for the initial curse and how it evolved and how it changed. And then this one was just like, yeah, you couldn't stop this from happening. Like, this woman just decided to come back and screw you over. So I'm going to put this one a little bit lower than Nico, but I rate this at an 86. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And particularly, I think this movie was very awesome for giving me a window into this culture of which I am highly illiterate and don't know a lot about. So I thought it was really awesome for me on a personal level.
I also really enjoyed the film. I thought it was great. Like, production quality was awesome. Like Justin had said about learning and seeing another culture and everything was really cool. As we talked about kind of at length, the shadow puppetry was really cool. My favorite scene was probably the skinning scene as well, just at the sheer sort of shock of it. But also, just because you two also said that, I'm going to say the another one would be my shadow puppetry scenes.
Those were really beautiful.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm going to give this one an 87. I really liked it.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I feel like we just have to, throw it down on the table right here, right now. Is this going to get a recommendation from the pod, Dan?
Yes.
Nico-san?
Oh, yeah.
And it's a yes for me as well. Golden Seal time. You gave it a 92, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to it. I was really fucking impressed by this. I'm probably going to go back and watch this again soon.
Dan? I don't want to be that guy.
Okay. I'm going to say no. It came damn close for me, though. I don't have a good reason for not recommending it, aside from, sometimes, and I think I may have mentioned this like a long time ago, like, I feel like a golden seal just has like that, like,
Special something.
yeah, that special sauce, special something to it. And this one didn't quite have that for me. It's a very high recommendation for me, though.
Yeah. This is probably in that section where it's like the highest I will rate something without it being Golden Seal worthy. I really, really like this movie, and I highly recommend this to anyone. But I feel like there's just like a 5% gap where
I feel that.
if it had just been like 5% better, this would have been like spellbinding, magical, amazing.
I feel
and as
that.
it stands, it's just really good, which is no knock on the movie. It completely blew away my expectations. And yeah, I just really, really dug it. But any last words before we wrap this one up?
No.
All right, then. Well, we hope you've enjoyed our tour around the world for checking out, different regions of horror. We've got a surprise coming for you guys maybe on Halloween, so stick around for that. But always remember, if you disagree with anything we've said, or if you want to let us know we're right about something, you can message us on Twitter and Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. Don't open that door, if Facebook can stay up. Also, you can check out this episode and everything else we've done on our website. That's dotdhorror.com. But till next time, take care of yourselves. Have a great Halloween season. And as always, dear listener, don't open that door. Bye.